Gen Con's come and gone, so we came home with a couple of games. Oh, and maple syrup. What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Murphy. I'm one half of the brothers Murph, and this is going to be, again, our Gen Con haul video where we talk about all the stuff I picked up at Gen Con. Mikey is not here, one, because he's out of town, and then two, because he actually ended up not going to Gen Con. He had an emergency and had to come home. Everyone's fine. Don't worry about it. But so he unfortunately wasn't there, and so I was like, you know what? I guess I'll just do this haul video alone because he doesn't actually know really what we got. So we're going to go ahead and kind of just go through all the stuff that we got at Gen Con. It was a pretty good year. We got a decent amount of stuff, not quite as big as some of our other hauls, but it was a good year. There was a lot of really cool stuff. Lots of the people were really interested in. We did not get Lorcana because we're just not that interested in it, and we didn't feel like having to line up the day before to get it because it was absolutely bonkers, people lining up for Lorcana. But hey, if you're into it, cool. If I want it, I'll buy it at Target in like 2 weeks. But hey, if you're the kind of who wants to wait in line for that stuff, more power to you. Go for it. So we'll go ahead and kind of just start going through everything we got. And yeah, it was a pretty good year. We'll kind of start with the bigger stuff. I just did a kind of unboxing / first look of this. It was live, so you can check that out on the channel here. Great Western Trail, New Zealand. This was provided to us by Plan B Games, so thank you so much for that. They know how much we love Great Western Trail. And this is the New Zealand one. It seems really, really cool. I'm really, really excited about it. It seems like it's a lot of Great Western Trail, but there's definitely some differences, and it feels a little bit more different than Argentina was from the original Great Western Trail. We will do a playthrough of this, and then we'll eventually do a kind of like a comparison between the three and all that kind of stuff. So wait for those videos. Don't ask in the comments, also because I haven't played it yet. But I'm really, really excited for the Great Western Trail. It's really, really pretty. The new stuff that's different seems really cool. And I just love Great Western Trail, and I'm happy that our trilogy is now finished. It's going to look very, very nice on our shelves because we like having all three because we like them all next to each other in that kind of collectorness. But nonetheless, very excited for this one because it seems really, really good, and I love it. I picked up Pyramido. Pyramido I picked up at the Flat River Group booth. Sit there. This is a tile laying game where you're kind of building up colorful pyramids, it looks like, with different color pieces. I don't entirely know exactly how it plays, but I've heard it's really good. And it's just got a nice look to it. It wasn't very expensive, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick it up because it just seems like kind of one of those casual tile laying games that you can just enjoy. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's like a super puzzle, super cutthroat death game, but it doesn't seem like it. So it seems, I've heard good things about it, and it just seems kind of like a nice kind of evening game. You know, only plays about 45 minutes or so. Just looks cool. Placing tiles seems awesome. So Pyramido picked up. Excited about this one too. I'm excited about all the games. I'm going to try and stop saying I'm excited about this one. I wouldn't have gotten it if I wasn't excited about it for the most part. So goes to show I'm excited for pretty much all of it. This one was actually sent to us before Gen Con, but we're going to count it in here because it was a Gen Con release, and they were just like, we'll send it to you so you don't have to pick it up at Gen Con. This was sent to us by North Star Games. This is Isla, and Something Shiny. This is, first of all, this box is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be like this size box. It's not. It's much bigger. But Island Something Shiny seems really, really cool. It's a one-player campaign game, and you're just going through a campaign, and apparently it's got a really good story, and apparently the story gets like pretty real. So like if you're playing this, like a lot of people are playing it like with their kid, they'll like play it like with one of their children or some of their children, and they're kind of all doing it together. But be warned, some of the stories, you're dealing with real life stuff, and so apparently it can get kind of real. And so just kind of know that going into it. But nonetheless, a one-player campaign. It's about 30 to 45 minutes per chapter, it says. It seems really, really cool. And yeah, it just seems rad. So again, big shout out to North Star Games for giving us this one and sending it to us. So I didn't have to bring it home. I already had 2 full checked bags full of games. And again, this one is just, it's very large. But nonetheless, Island Something Shiny I'm super excited for. It's got a cool look. And I'm just kind of interested in one-player campaign games. I'm getting more and more interested in them as time goes by, because I hate playing games with Mike. He's not here to defend himself. And it just seems cool. I just like the concept. I like that there's more games that are catering specifically to solo gaming, as many of us enjoy solo gaming. So yeah, very excited for that one there. Let's see what we got next. Ooh, we got Jerusalem Anno Domini. by DeVere Games. Picked up a couple different DeVere games because I really like DeVere. Yeah, this one just seems cool. This is a game, kind of a tight Euro game where you are trying to sit close to Jesus, basically. Jesus and his apostles are at the Last Supper, and you basically are trying to sit near him because, according to history and stuff like that, there were more than just them there. It was a bunch of people, and people in like the buildings around wherever the Last Supper was, probably Arby's. Probably not Arby's, but you never know how old Arby's is. That meat's been there for a while. And so you're basically trying to sit close to him, and you basically are trying to bring the apostles to the Last Supper, and then you're trying to position yourself to get the most points by being close to them unless you're near Judas. You don't want to be near Judas because that'll lose you negative points for obvious reasons. But apparently it's really, really fun, and it's a pretty tight game, a pretty tough game, and it's just got this really cool look to it, and it's just a really cool theme. Like, Mike and I are not religious at all. But like, it's just different, right? It's just a different theme, and anytime there's a different theme, we're always at least a little bit interested. So speaking of this, I was also given the Jerusalem Anno Domini Folded Space insert from Folded Space. We know some people from Folded Space, and they're really lovely people, and they saw that we had this, and so they gave us the insert for it. We've used some Folded Space stuff before, and they're really good at what they do, and so we actually have the insert for this one too, which is rad. So no bags for us. So that is Jerusalem and the Folded Space insert for it. Pretty darn cool. This is one of the games that I personally was so excited for. This is, God, so big. Distilled. I'm really excited for Distilled. I haven't read the rulebook yet. I'm probably going to read it today. I'm really, really excited about this one. This one seems awesome. So this is a game where you are running your own, spirits lab. You're making your own spirits. You're running kind of like, I keep wanting to say brewery, but what do you call a place where you make spirits? Like, what's a vineyard or brewery equivalent of a place where you make like gin and stuff? A ginnery. And so you're basically making spirits, and it's kind of a bit of it's resource management, kind of a Euro game, but a little bit of push your luck because you want your spirits, like your specific whiskey, to be different. But if it's too different and weird, it just kind of turns into moonshine, and no one really likes it. Seems really, really cool. It's got a cool look. We also got the little expansion. There was this game and the expansion. The expansion is usually like $20. It was only $5 more if you got the base game too. So I was like, yeah, okay. And so really, really excited about Distilled. I cannot wait to play it. For some reason, this game is just wildly intriguing to me. I don't know what it is. It just seems cool. So yeah, really, really excited for Distilled. Cannot wait to play this one. I'll be trying to play this one as soon as possible, because it's so heavy. Because it just seems, I don't know, it just seems really cool. It's intriguing to me. We got sent Wandering Towers. This was sent to us by Capstone Games over on our Twitch channel. We just covered their new Age of Rails. Is Age of Rails the new one? Whatever the one's on Kickstarter right now. The kind of in the Iberian Gauge Rails and Sails kind of world. And they also sent us Wandering Towers. So thank you, Capstone, for that. Wandering Towers came out in Germany, I think last year, maybe the year before, but it's being brought over here now. So this was also a Gen Con release, which is why I'm showing it off right now. But this is kind of a cool memory game that Mike's actually played that I haven't played, where you have these like 3D towers, and you're putting like your little wizards or whatever in the towers, but then the towers are constantly moving and getting put on top of each other. And so you're constantly trying to remember where like your people are within these towers as they're moving around. So it's like this cool little memory game. And Mike, I think, said it was pretty good. And so they sent us this, so thanks again for that. But I've heard it's a cool little memory game, and yeah, that's it. Seems cool. All right, fam, we're cruising. We're cruising. This one technically isn't a release because this is going to be an Essen release, but I guess I'd show it off here because I got it at Gen Con, and we'll be covering it. We got a prototype of Nucleum that was given to us by Board and Dice. We'll be covering this for them sometime in the future, but this is going to be their main Essen release, as far as I know. And it's Simone Luciani and David Torzi, and it's a Board and Dice game. And it's about like the dawn of nuclear power or something like that. It's got this kind of like steampunky look. I don't really know much about it, except for the fact that it's Board and Dice, Simone Luciani, and David Torzi. So I'm about as excited as you can possibly get about it, because those are my jams. And on top of that, it's got this cool like green nuclear look to it and stuff like that. This game was out at the Board and Dice booth at Gen Con, so I did get to kind of take a quick look at it. I didn't really know anything about the game, but I got to take a look at it. It looks really cool in terms of just like the bits and stuff. And here's the thing. Big, heavy Board and Dice games like this are Mike and I's jam. They are arguably our favorite games out there. So definitely here for it. Super, super here for it. So Nucleum, again, not really a Gen Con pickup in terms of like a game you could buy, but they gave us the prototype at Gen Con, so I was like, yeah, I'll talk about it. So Nucleum, very excited for that. We'll cover it at some point here. Keep an eye out for it. Also at the DeVere booth, I picked up Mille Fiori, which is not a new game, but it's really good. Mike and I got the chance to play this at BGG Con in the spring, and it's made by Schmidt Spiel, but DeVere's the one who's bringing it over here, and this is a great, it's Reiner Knizia, right? It's a Reiner Knizia game where you're putting out these beautiful, like, clear acrylic diamonds in your own color onto the board and basically trying to score, and all the different parts of the board score in different ways. It's really, really, really fun. A lot of people have liked this game for a while and have been telling us about it and how much they like it, and we finally got it played. And so when I saw it at the DeVere booth when I was there picking up Jerusalem and something else you'll see in a second, I was like, oh, I'm definitely grabbing Mille Fiori. Absolutely grabbing it because I really, really, really liked it. But I haven't seen it like in a store at all. So when I saw it at the booth, I was like, boom, instant grab. Super great Reiner Knizia game. Absolutely beautiful. It's very, very good. So Mille Fiori, super excited about this pickup. Oh my gosh, I'm happy about that one. Speaking of another game that's not new, but is, in my opinion, very underrated, that is Powerline. Shouts out to Aldi and Lincoln from Board Game Geek for showing me this one also at Board Game Geek Con. This is Powerline. This is not a new game. This game came out, I think, like in 2021. It was basically when COVID happened, and it kind of got buried by COVID and all the kind of stuff that happened there. But I think this is one of the most underrated games because I had never, ever heard of it until I played it at BGG Con. And it's this really fun, puzzly game where you essentially have a board and you have like cities and power stations, and someone will roll out these 6 dice, and you have to essentially build these lines between these cities and power stations based off of the dice. The lines are going to look kind of like this, if you can see, and they have different pip values on them, like 1, 2, 4, 6, all the different dice pip values. By the way, this one is, you hear that? I punched this one out because I wanted to play it at Gen Con and then didn't have any bags to put it in, so everything's just loose in there. And there's a lot of cardboard bits in there. But it's really, really fun. It's a super puzzly game, and it just works really, really well. When I played at BGG Con, I was like, this is absolutely incredible. How have I not heard about this game? And they were just like, I don't know, just no one knows about it. So when I saw it they only had a couple of them, but I saw it at the Queen booth at Gen Con, I immediately was like, oh, it's Powerline. I'm buying Power. So I bought Powerline. And I actually went and played it at Gen Con with one of our best friends, Shay Bobet. And Shay liked it so much that he went and bought the last copy they had. So Powerline is super, super good. We'll probably live stream this or play it in some capacity here soon. So you'll be able to see it, but I'm super hyped about Powerline. I'm so happy to have it. I really freaking like this game. It's just so, so good. It's really good. So Powerline is an absolute banger. So happy to have it. Okay, that's all like the Ticket to Ride size boxes. We also got, boom, Sky Team. This was my most anticipated game at Gen Con. I wanted this game so badly. This one was provided to us by Scorpion Mask, who we really enjoyed their games a lot, and they were kind enough to give us a copy of Sky Team, so we appreciate y'all. Sky Team is a 2-player game where you are trying to land a plane. One person's the co-pilot, one person's the pilot, and you can do different stuff, and you're like assigning dice and stuff around this board, and you have to keep the plane like level and stuff, and I don't know, it seems so cool. Such a cool theme. Scorpion Mask always is thinking outside the box and making games that are just like weird and cool and just amazing. It's got a great look to it, and I tell you, this was one of the games of the con. This was selling out immediately. Just every single day, they had a certain allotment every day, and they were just selling out right away. So I'm really happy that we were able to snag a copy from Scorpion Mask, because I don't know if we would have gotten it. All of my meetings for the week of Gen Con were all like right at 10, which is when the hall opens. And so I kept getting into the hall at like 10:30, 11, and there were certain things that were just gone by the time I get in here. And at the end of the video, I'll kind of talk about the stuff that I didn't get that I would have liked to have gotten. But I think this would have been one, if we weren't given a copy by Scorpion Mask, that I probably wouldn't have been able to pick up. But nonetheless, I am so excited for Sky Team. I cannot wait to play it. We'll do a playthrough of this one soon here. I'm so excited for this game. It just seems really, really cool. And everyone who's playing it is just like seemingly pretty much over the moon about it. And I'm pretty hyped about that. This we already did a playthrough for, but I thought I'd mention it here because it's a Gen Con release. the Lost Ruins of Arnak expansion. This was sent to us by CGE, and they actually sent it to us before the con, so we were able to do a playthrough before the con even happened, so you can go watch that video right now. But nonetheless, the Lost Ruins expansion, the Missing Expedition, which adds 2 new characters, the journalist and the mechanic, and then a 1 to 2 player cooperative campaign to it, which is really, really fun. We played the first one so far, and we really enjoyed it. Cannot wait to play it more. Also, Min and Elwin, the husband and wife combo who made this game, were at Gen Con, and we got to talk to them and tell them how much they love our games, stuff like that. And they were both super, super nice. Min and Elwin were just such lovely, lovely people. So, yeah, really like this expansion. This box is empty because we put it all in the main box. If you're wondering, does all the stuff fit in the box? Barely. Like, really, really barely. But it does technically fit in there. But once the next expansion comes out, because let's be honest, there's definitely going to be a next expansion, it won't fit in the box anymore. But nonetheless, this game was a baller. It was an absolute banger. And again, shout out to CG for sending us that one early so we could have gotten it out before here. We got Boop. This is a game that also was selling out in like 20 minutes every single day. We got a copy because a lovely gentleman named Evan picked us up a copy, and then we were able to get it from them. And so huge, huge shout out to them because we wouldn't have. This is a game where I got this the last day of the con. I was like, I'll just get it later because there's no way I'm getting it here. But we were able to pick up a copy of Boop. This is Boop, the game where you are little cats and kittens and you're trying to knock each other off the bed. But this is like a spoopy version and a Halloween-y version, and it's still mostly Boop, where you are putting cats down on the bed and stuff like that, but there are some differences. I don't know what the differences are because I haven't read the rulebook yet, but I know there are some slight differences. But here's the thing. I'm just kind of, like, I understand that, like, it's not technically necessary because a lot of times these kind of thematic reskins of these games don't really change anything about the games, but I'm personally all for these, like, holiday or different versions of, like, the same game. Like, I love all the different patchworks. There's, like, Patchwork Valentine's Day and Patchwork Halloween and, like, Patchwork Americana. Like, I just think it's really cool. I like it. It kind of scratches that collector's itch in me. And so this one, Boop, I'm like, please keep making Boop in different holidays. Make a winter Christmassy holiday themed one. Make, I don't know, whatever one. I don't care. Just make more Boop because I think it's cute and it's awesome. And the pieces are mega cute. And there's like cat ghosts or something. I don't know. It looks great. So we got Boop. Very excited about that. And also, just the name works so well. It works so well. We got a copy of Kashgar Merchants of the Silk Road. The new hotness, obviously. That is not true. Our good friend Linnea somehow ended up with 2 copies of this game, and she was at the con. And so she's like, hey, I want to play this game with you at the con. And if you like it, because I think you will like it, I'll just give it to you because I have 2 copies. And so I was like, okay. And so we ended up playing it, and I liked it a lot. And so she gave me a copy of it. So we now have Kashgar Merchants of the Silk Road. This is an interesting game where you're essentially getting different spices and stuff like that, and you are trying to fulfill orders. That's all it is. But you're playing cards down to these caravans, which essentially be 3 kind of stacks of cards, and you can kind of keep adding them. And you're going to activate the front card in one of the stacks, and then it'll move to the back. So you're constantly cycling these cards through like that, trying to, some of them will like give you these different spices like cinnamon and stuff like that. And then other ones will allow you to fulfill orders. Other ones allow you to get cards, all this different kind of stuff. And so it was good. It was really good. It could use an art upgrade. The art is, we were dying laughing at some of the art. It's real interesting. It's very, and then it could use a theme upgrade. It's just the most Euro of all Euro themes. You're just trading spices on the Silk Road. That's a lot. There's a lot of that. So, and it could be any theme. So I would love to see a re-theme and re-art just because it's just kind of a boring theme. But the game itself is really cool. And so shout out to Linnea for getting us a copy of Kashgar Merchants of the Silk Road because it was fun. I think Mike's really going to like this one. But yeah, could use an art upgrade. The art was very funny. Also at the Flat River Group booth, I picked up a copy of Get On Board. This is the one for Paris and Roma. Get On Board is the kind of new version of Let's Make a Bus Route by Sashi and Sashi. The other one, I think, is London and New York. We have the other Get On Board. So when I saw this one at the Flat River Group booth, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it because I really like go on board, and I like the fact that there's multiple boards for it. And then this one is Paris and Rome. It's got this kind of nice night look, and I really, really enjoy Let's Make a Bus Route. But I do think this is a better version because it's kind of like a roll and write, but in the original you were all drawing onto the same the same central board, which worked fine, but kind of just started to get kind of messy over time. Whereas this one, you're putting out kind of like wooden pieces and stuff like that. It just makes it cleaner, and it's just kind of nicer. So I saw this new Get On Board with Paris and Rome, and I was like, let's go ahead and grab that. And so snagged this. Excited to play it because I like Good On Board, and it just nice new maps. Why not, you know? Ooh, and there's a solo variant. I didn't even see that. Let's go. Ooh, really? My excitement for this one just went up. That's cool. Okay, solo variant for Get On Board. Let's go. Alrighty. I got a copy of Mercurial. This was given to us by Good Games. This is, I don't know much about the games. It's been described as like Century Spice Road on steroids, which we are not huge Century Spice Road fans, but we've been wanting to try it again because I have a hunch, it's been years since we played it. I have a hunch nowadays we'd like it a lot more than we did. So I've been wanting to play it again anyway, and so you get that and put on steroids with some like absolutely banger kind of like cool fantasy art, really colorful. I'm pretty here for it. Yeah, so Good Games, shouts out to them for giving us a copy of this one. But yeah, it looks cool. It's got some really good art, and again, apparently it's kind of like Century Spice Road on steroids, which I'm kind of here for, you know? Because again, Spice Road, Silk Road, that kind of stuff, I'm like, this is, at least personally for me, this is more interesting. I like cool fantasy themes. So shout out to Good Games for giving us a copy of Mercurial. All right, and this is going to be the last of the kind of bigger games. It's not like a bunch of small stuff. We, of course, got Three Ring Circus from the DeVere booth. And when I was there, I bought 3 games because I just love DeVere so much. Super excited about Three Ring Circus. It just seems really cool. I've heard from a bunch of people who have played it that they really, really, really enjoy it. It's got a really cool look. Apparently, it's just absolutely a blast. This is kind of like, I'm not sure exactly when, maybe like turn of the century time, maybe a little bit later. But you were running around as a circus performing and stuff like that. You're going to like different towns. Kind of seems like it has a little bit of like Castell vibes in terms of like you're going around to different cities, putting on shows, getting new stuff, getting new performers and stuff like that. It seems really, really cool. They were also selling a little tiny upgrade for, not upgrade, I'd say just a slightly different one. Because this is representing circuses back at this time, there are a bunch of animal performers, which nowadays animals aren't really in circuses because it's kind of really cruel. And so there's actually a subset of cards that replaces the animal cards. So if you want to not have animals, you can get this little kind of upgraded thingy, but then also you can just play it the normal way if you want to as well. It doesn't really change the game at all, just gets rid of the animals, which I thought was really, really cool. It's a cool way to kind of, you know, cater to the people who maybe weren't as cool with that. So I was like, all right, that's awesome. So yeah, super excited for the Three Ring Circus. Seems really, really cool. I've heard it's very, very good, and I just cannot wait to play it. Okay, so that is all of the kind of bigger stuff. I got a couple small games. There's actually more to this one. Mike has it. This is 20 Strong. This is a pre-production copy, so just know that as well. This is a pre-production copy that was given to us by, very, very dense, given to us by Chip Theory Games, who we work with a lot, and we tend to enjoy their games. And so this is the Hopalong's Victorium pack of 20 Strong. So 20 Strong is a solo-only small game. I mean, the main box, I think, is like this big. It's pretty darn small. And it's a game where you have like 20 dice, and you're trying to essentially survive through a big deck of cards and a big deck of baddies. And you are, they all have different abilities and stuff that they do and ways they make the game harder. And you are rolling dice to overcome these enemies, but then your dice get exhausted, and then you can only refresh a certain amount of them each round. So like a normal amount would be like you could refresh like 2 every round. But to get past this baddie, you might need to use like 6 of them. So it's really about this, like managing your dice pool. It's really cool. And then on top of that, they made essentially all of the different Chip Theory games, they made 20 Strong decks for. So there's a Too Many Bones deck. There's a Hopalong's Victorium deck. I think there's like a Cloudspire deck, a Burn Cycle deck, or if there isn't, there's gonna be. And I just think it's a really cool thing. I like when publishers give you a game that's kind of about their other games, kind of like Rolling Realms was Stonemaier. I always thought it was a really kind of interesting, cool idea if you're a big Stonemaier fan. And if you're a big Chip Theory fan, this is kind of what they do as well. And I played the game, I played it at the airport, and it's really fun. It's really hard, as most Chip Theory games are, but it was cool, and it was cool to see this kind of like one-player quick game. It's like 20, 30 minutes, and it's just, again, I like the concept of, you're going through and playing through like a different game in that publisher in this game. I just think it's cool. So this is like kind of a pre-production copy of 20 Strong. I picked up Warlord Orc Duel. Who is this by? Reign Absolute. So I picked this one up there because it seemed interesting, and it was the last day of the con, so they were just trying to get as rid of much stuff as they could. So they had a bit of a sale for it too. So I was like, cool. It was like, I think the game is like $12 normally, and I got it for I think like $8 or something like that. So I was like, all right, great. But this is a game where you are trying to essentially. You're trying to beat the other person. I can't remember exactly what you're doing. One thing that was very cool about it is it has a big card pyramid, kind of like, you know, like Seven Wonders Duel or something like that. And so you're constantly overturning cards and doing things like that while also building out your own tableau. Because you're drawing cards from there, building out your tableau and doing stuff. And I really like games with card pyramids. It's a mechanic that doesn't get used very often, but I really, really wish more companies and more games would use card pyramids as a way to gain cards, because I think it makes really interesting tactical decisions where you're like, ooh, I don't want to overcome this one. I don't want to take this card out because it's going to flip over this one. That's going to give Mike the opportunity to get it. I just think it makes it really interesting decisions. And it comes in this little box, and it was cheap. And so, like, 2-player game, I'm interested in it. I'm curious to see how it goes. Looked nice on the table. So, yeah, Warlord Orc Duel. All right. I picked up a copy of Fancy Feathers by Freeman Freeze, mostly because it's a 2-player game with a bird on the front. And this bird is just like, hey. It just made me laugh. But I really like Freeman Freeze games. I'm getting more and more and more into Friedman and Freeze games. I think he's just a brilliant designer. And this one's a 2-player card game. And I actually played this one with Jeff from Foster the Meatball. And it was cool. It's a game where you're kind of building out a row of these pheasants, and you're kind of collecting them patchwork style, where whoever's back farthest in the line, you will collect the card you're on and then everything behind that card, and then you'll essentially move forward. And you can kind of move forward as far as you want. And then you're constantly kind of going through this line of cards like this. And it's just set collection. Certain pheasants score in certain ways. Sometimes they'll give you negative points, so you don't want them. So it's this constant like, do I want to grab this card? Because I have to grab this card and all the cards behind it. So this card I really want, but all these other cards I don't want. So maybe I want to move forward instead, or or something like that. And so it's got some interesting tactical decisions. You only ever use like half of the pheasants in the game, so it's also got some variety where you'll just change the pheasants. Very cool for a little 2-player game that was like, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks somewhere in there. It was good. I liked it a lot. And look at this bird. This frankly out of focus bird. I'm down. Weird little Freeman Freeze games. I'm here for it. I got Scram 100% because of Paula Deming. Blame her. She really, really likes this game and was constantly talking about it. And I was passing by the Bezier booth. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get Scram because Paula says such good things about it. This is a team game. I don't entirely know what you're doing. You're trying to chase off critters faster than the other team. When your team has the fewest animals, Scram. That's Scram. It's a team game, though. And apparently it's super fun. Apparently it's an absolute banger. So when I was swinging by the Bezier Games booth, I was like, I'm going to get that because, I don't know, it seems cool. And apparently Paula likes it, so who knows what she thinks. We picked up Inheritors. Well, actually, we were sent Inheritors by North Star Games before the con, along with Isla and Something Shiny. They sent us Inheritors. And, well, I don't really know. Mike knows about this game. I don't really know much about the game. But I think the people who I've been hearing, the people who have been playing it, have been really enjoying it. As much as Isla and Something Shiny was in a much bigger box, this one was in a much smaller box than I thought it was going to be. So North Star's just confusing us at this point. But nonetheless, I'm excited for this one. Mike's really, really excited about this one. I don't know much about it. He does, so he's not here right now. Done. We got Everything Ever. This was actually sent to us by Floodgate Games before the con, but I did take it to the con, and I got to play it there. And we did a little short on it that was sponsored by Floodgate Games. But it's a cool game. It's a kind of a trivia game where you're going to have some prompts down on the board, like every country in Africa or every doctor. And basically, when it comes to your turn, you have to... It's the whole Everything Ever is like, you have to name something from one of those categories. So like a country in Africa, you could say like Botswana, you could say like Namibia or something like that. Every doctor, you could say like a pediatrician, a proctologist, or whatever. You basically just have to name something from one of those categories. And you have a hand of 3 cards, and a card that you don't like out there, you can't think of anything out there, you can put down a new prompt. But the cards are kind of like your lives. You don't want to run out of them. And then if you can't want to change the topic, and you can't name them from the topic, you have to take a stack of those cards out there, and those are going to be like negative points. It was cool because it was just a kind of casual, you're naming stuff, you also challenge each other, so you're like, that's not a doctor, that's a way of life, or whatever, I don't know. But nonetheless, it was a cool little game. So shout out to Floodgate Games for sending us this one, because it was a cool little kind of just casual saying stuff that you knew. Okay, last thing, boom, Inside Job. This is one of the games we really want to pick up, really wanted to pick up, rather. This is a trick-taking game with a trader, and I did get a chance to try this one at, it was at Gen Con. It was someone else's copy, which is why ours is still in shrink. And it's really fun. So it's trick-taking with a trader, where everyone's on the same team, and the team is trying to fulfill these missions, which is kind of like the crew, where there's something specific you need to do to fulfill the mission. So it might be like the last card played in this trick has to be the highest card. And you're like, okay, and so then if everyone does that, boom, we win that mission. You need to win like 6 missions or something like that. But then there's also the trader. And the trader, the person on the inside job, their goal is to try and win 4 tricks. That's how they win. So it's not like they need to stop the missions from happening. They just need to win 4 tricks. And the trader is always allowed to throw off. But again, you don't get to see each other's cards, so everyone always looks suspicious. Because you're like, in our game, we were playing with a couple different people, and Jamie, we were playing with Foster Meeple and then Karvi, and Jamie kept winning tricks, and we kept being like, Jamie's winning tricks, and then it got to the point where Jamie won 4, and she didn't announce herself as the person inside, so we were like, okay, so Jamie's fine then, okay. And it turned out Ilya was the traitor. But it's like this interesting situation where when you win a trick, everyone's immediately like, why'd you win that? Do you need to win that? Did you want to win that? And then it's a good time. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, any kind of trader game is not good at lower player counts. It's 3 to 5. You probably want at least 4 or 5 people. So I don't know how often this will get played, but it's a small Cosmos game, and so I'm here for it. Really excited about Inside Job. It was super fun. Cannot wait to play it more. And that is all the games we got. I'm going to point out a couple things. Shout out to Weird Guy of Games, wonderful man, who brought us some Canadian treats, some maple leaf cookies, and then some canned maple syrup, which sounds very weird to Americans because maple syrup never comes in cans. But a couple years ago, Weird Guy of Games got us some canned maple syrup from Canada, as he is from Canada. And it was the greatest maple syrup I've ever tried in my entire life. So he brought us some more. This is amber. I didn't know there was different kinds of maple syrup. This one's amber, though. And so Canada grade A. Look at that. That's that good stuff. So this is the thing. Screw all those games. This is honestly the thing I'm most excited for. So shout out to Weird Guy of Games for getting us some sweet maple syrup. And that is the games that we got at Gen Con. Thank you for going through them all with me. Let us know down in the comments what's a game from this particular stack that you're interested in seeing us play. And also, if you were at Gen Con, or even if you weren't, what's a game you were interested at Gen Con? A couple games we didn't get to pick up. I didn't get a chance to get My Island, which I really wanted, because I just couldn't get there in time. And I didn't get the Search for Lost Species because they sold out, of their entire stock in like the first day and a half, and they were just gone for the whole thing. So I didn't get a chance to pick up those 2, and there's probably some other ones that I wanted to pick up that I didn't, but those are the 2 that stood out that we'll have to get afterwards, which is totally fine. But nonetheless, that is our Gen Con haul. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope some of these games seem cool to you. I'm very excited about pretty much all of them, and so I can't wait to get playing them. Mike's out of town this week, which is annoying because I can't play these. Maybe some would have that have a solo variant, but who knows. All right, I'm going to get out of your all's hair. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. My name is Nick Murphy, the Brothers Murph. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and we'll see you later. Bye. Thank you so much for watching that quick Gen Con haul video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, let us know down in the comments below what games you'd like to see us cover and what games from Gen Con that you're excited about. We want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsors, Restoration Games, Lucky Duck Games, and Board Game Geek. I want to give a big shout out to you for watching this, you butts. Love you. Bye.